Welcome to Mountain Cooking with Missy. Today we're cooking up some delicious homemade chicken noodle soup from start to finish. So stick around. All right, guys, I know everybody loves some good chicken noodle soup, but the start of a good chicken noodle soup is with your chicken, of course. So I like to do my chicken in a crock pot. So I have already, if you can see here, this is a whole chicken that I've already put in the crock pot overnight. And I didn't do any kind of spices. I just did the chicken by itself and just covered it with water, and I cooked it overnight. No spices or anything because I'm going to add all my seasonings to my soup. But I'm going to take this out and I'm going to debone it. Then I'm going to put the broth in a kettle and then we'll get started on the soup. But the start to a good chicken noodle soup is with the chicken. So you want a good whole fryer, and it's got a lot of good flavor on it. And I did cut some of the excess fat off of this because I didn't want it really greasy. But this is also the best way. This is how I do chicken and dumplings too. You start out with a good chicken, a good whole fryer. This was an Aldi fryer that I got, an organic one actually that I got for half price. So I'm really excited about that. So I'm going to get started, take this out, get it off the bone. And then when we come back, we will start on our chicken noodle soup. Okay, I have the chicken deboned and I shredded it. We don't like our chicken in our soup chunky. We just shred it. So here it is, all shredded up. And I've got my broth over here. I poured out my crock pot contents, and I'm just going to add the chicken in. So there is the chicken in the broth, and I'm going to bring this up to a boil. I'm going to get started on my carrots and my celery, and then we'll add the seasonings. Now it's time to put our veggies in. So we just do celery, carrots, and onion in our soup. We don't do like peas or anything like that. And I just do about 3 stalks. So I'll turn around and let you guys see how we do it. So celery, about a half of an onion, and some baby carrots. And this celery's just been washed. I just take it and cut up with my hands like this, like small slithers. When I start cutting it, I peel it as I go. I got my broth going, starting to heat up. So all together here looks about maybe 2.5, 3 cups of chopped veggies. These are carrots, onions, and celery. I don't do an exact recipe. This is just how I make them. I just make it cut up enough until I think they're enough. So this is some of the spices that's going to go in this soup. Black pepper, parsley, garlic powder, onion powder, poultry seasoning, celery seed, and I'm going to add a tablespoon of this Better Than Bouillon chicken base. And I did add about 4 cups of water to the pot. The chicken's already in there. So it's about ready to start boiling. It's heating up. So I'm going to add my veggies. So the veggies are in there, and I'm going to start putting in our seasoning. So the chicken bouillon base is going first. So I love this stuff. It brings like extra flavor. It's got a concentrated flavor. So I add this to my chicken and dumplings too. So it's really, really good. I get this at Costco. I'm not going to add any salt yet until I get all the seasoning in there, because that chicken bouillon base has a lot of salt. And celery salt, well, celery seed, not salt. And I'm going to do probably about a teaspoon of that to start. Poultry seasoning. And about a half a teaspoon of poultry seasoning. The bouillon base also has seasoning in it too, guys. So always remember that. I love bouillon base, and I love chicken stock when I'm cooking soup or chicken and dumplings, because they have all those good veggie flavors in there. This is onion powder. I'll just do a sprinkle. This is garlic powder. Parsley. Parsley makes a difference when it comes to soup. So you're going to do probably about a tablespoon of parsley. Now you don't add the noodles until it comes to boil. So this is black pepper. And we like a lot of pepper, so all of this is pretty much seasoned to taste. But once it starts cooking, this is how I start. I may add a little more of something once I see how it's going to taste. So I want to let this simmer probably for let it come up to a boil and simmer for a little bit. And then I'm going to taste it and see what it needs. And then we'll add some more accordingly. So I tasted it, and it does need another round of seasoning. So I'm going to just do the same thing I did at the beginning. But as you see, it's a good rolling boil. And instead of adding more of the chicken bouillon base, I'm going to add two of these cubes. These are Knorr chicken bouillon cubes that I love. These are good too. I use these also. They're soft. And I'm just going to crumble 2 in here. Not going to add any salt because by the time I add these, it won't need it. These have really good concentrated flavor. I use these in my soup. I use these in chicken and dumplings. So I am going to add these. You wipe my hands off. Now, I'm not going to add any more parsley, because if you add too much parsley, it turns your soup green, and you don't want that. So I don't need any more parsley. So I'm going to add about a half teaspoon of celery seed. About a half teaspoon more of poultry seasoning. If you don't have poultry seasoning, but you have rosemary and thyme, that's really good. Or some sage. Those are all poultry seasonings. If you buy poultry seasoning, that's what it's got in it. It's got sage. All right, I'm back. I had a phone call. So I'm going to add some onion powder. And some more garlic powder. So as you can see, looks like soup. Now at this point, if you didn't want to add noodles, you could leave the noodles out. You could add more vegetables. You could do peas. You could add more veggies. We don't like peas in ours. You could add some cauliflower, like rice cauliflower, if you wanted to do low carb instead of the noodles. Or you can just eat it like it is, but you would need to add a little bit of a cornstarch slurry to thicken it just a little. If you wanted to leave the noodles out. Some people leave the noodles out and add noodles, let everybody add their noodles, especially if they're going to do be low carb. So at this point, we're going to add the noodles. So it's noodle time. The best part, I use wide egg noodles, and these are just the curly kind. I get them at Costco. No, these come from Aldi. I'm not using the whole bag because your noodles will, if you get too much, it's not good. It turns out dry. You don't want a dry soup. So I probably put in right at half a bag. So you don't want your noodles overcooked. So this is to the point where I'm going to turn it way, way down. And I'm going to keep an eye on it. And I'm going to let it cook for just maybe a couple more minutes. Then I'm going to turn it off because your noodles will keep on cooking, and you don't want them overcooked. You want the noodles just done because they're going to keep on cooking, and you don't want them mushy. So when they're plumped up a little bit, I'll come back and show you guys. Okay, look. Soup is done. Noodles are done. Look at that. Nice and chunky, but still enough good broth. Chicken noodle soup, guys. Pretty simple. Look at that. Okay, it's taste time. Mama's little chicken soup connoisseur.
It's good.
All right, break it down, little girl. What's it got? What's the flavors?
Definitely very chickeny. I love but not in like a gross way.
Yeah, no gross. I use white
really
chicken.
good.
Yeah. So I think the key is cooking a whole chicken, getting all the flavor in there, and just the right amount of everything. It's all good.
Delish.
All right, guys, let me know if you make this chicken noodle soup. It's so good. Thank you for tuning in to Mountain Cooking with Missy. Well, it's nothing fancy, just good eating.